What's up? What's up? What's up? Waiting for more of you to join me. Hope you're having a good day. I hope that many of you call in today. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Today's topic, oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. Today's topic is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while. There are so many men, in particularly, a lot of men believe that women in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s were just happier, more domesticated women who loved their husbands and didn't go through any drama. They'll say, why couldn't you be like grandma? You know, a lot of grandmas were not as happy as you believe. Grandpa cheated. Grandpa beat grandma. But women, there weren't places to go for shelter for domestic abuse. The business that was in the house, a lot of it stayed in the house. A lot of women were raised to be quiet, to take abuse. Don't get me started on Black women who were severely oppressed, okay, who took a lot of crap from men, whose whole world depended on having a man because times were harder. You had to get a husband much earlier. Women didn't have many rights. Women couldn't be as free as they are now. And it's okay to get a husband and to want a husband, but a lot of women had no other option but to stay in their miserable marriages. This is a fact. Now, I'm not saying that every grandma was, that doesn't mean that every one of your grandmas was miserable. Some had very long lasting happy marriages, but there were also a number of women who were very miserable. Okay. I will say that a lot of dysfunction and filth wasn't promoted in the media like you see today, which could have influenced some men. But don't get it twisted. Men are still men from the beginning of time until now, and their nature doesn't change just because the year changes. Okay, there were a number of men who still stepped out on their wives. Your grandma, my grandma had been beat before, so it's not as uncommon as people like to believe. And yes, but everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different story. And some grandmas are more open with their grandchildren than others. Some grandmas take their secrets to the grave, and you don't know anything about your grandmother's love life with her husband or any other man before that. And some grandmas teach their daughters and granddaughters the game, what men have done, their life story. So I want some of you to call in today and spill the beans, spill the tea. What do you know about your grandma's love life? To her husband or a boyfriend she might have had back in the day? Did she go through anything? Since everybody believes that the 1950s um and 60s women were just different, well, is that really, really true? I know for a fact it's not, but I want to hear from you. My grandma, she told me some things, but my grandma, I know some people don't like when we say the word mammy, but yes, like most of y'all grandmas, let's just keep it real. Male identified, got abused, had to, it's just a mess. A mess. Okay, I have a call from Miss Sincere. Uh-oh, hold on. Hello?
Okay, hey, bro.
Hello, Miss Sincere.
Hi. Hey.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. So.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know if you could hear me or not. kind of wanted to mention something on this topic. I personally don't know what on my mom's side, what my grandma and my great grandma Ernestine went through. But as far as my dad's mom, she died in 1984, and she came up in the 50s and started having kids in like the mid to late 60s. But she stayed with my grandpa and had over 18 kids. But
18 kids.
Yeah, but you have to realize that only 14 survived, so I believe 2 sets of twins have passed away fairly early on. Not in utero, but after they were born, she had a set of twins that passed away. But I just wanted to share this story that I saw on TikTok that was actually going around. So there's a lady, an older lady in her 90s, I think. Her name is Opal Lee, and her mom wanted to send her to college. But she ended up getting married instead of going to college. She ended up getting married and having 3 children. And she ended up just divorcing her husband and going back to her mom and saying, I'm ready to go to college now. But she basically had said that, having the man around was like having another child. And for a lot of our grandmothers and great-grandmas, I don't know why they would get married and have kids, because historically speaking, we have always had to work.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
You don't have any choice because your husband is going to have sex with you and there was no birth control or women weren't having abortions. So you are going to get pregnant whether you want to get pregnant or not. You're going to have sex with your husband.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice, because if you didn't 100% comply with them, they'll just abandon you. Like, what happens is, if you don't 100% comply, let's say you have a child after child after child, you have 3 kids, and then all of a sudden you can't take it anymore. Well, they'll just abandon you. And I've seen it happen. So I feel like one of the reasons why a lot of our predecessors, or the women that came before us, was complying with the ridiculous demands, and was out of fear of being abandoned. Because they already had so many kids, and they couldn't imagine doing it all alone. But I don't know why our predecessors had signed themselves up to have children and work at the same time. But I mean, I don't know the logistics of what was going on back then. But I will say this. I feel like a lot of women back then, the reason why they kind of relegated themselves to that mindset of no matter how much abuse they received, they were still supportive of their men. And the reason why I feel that way is because I think deep down inside, they knew there was no escape, or they felt like there was no escape. So I guess it was like some sort of subconscious thing or something mentally with them that just kind of tricked their mind into accepting what was going on and being okay with it. Not really okay with it, but it's kind of like, I hate to use this example. It's kind of like the stories I would hear, like, about the Illuminati and how they would torture people and the people would disassociate, or they'll break into like different personalities. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what I think is going on with a lot of them, is that they were just had so much abuse that they just kind of created a separate personality to just disassociate, and were just living in a fantasy land where they just kind of accepted it or blame themselves or blame other women, because those men are not changing. Like, and the problem with a lot of the men today, like our men, black men, is that they are, when it comes to the abuse, they are no less abusive than the grandfathers before. But at least the grandfathers before did a little bit more. And honestly, some of the grandfathers before probably didn't do anything at all. But that's neither here nor there. But now, what's happening is a lot of these men, they're still extremely abusive, and they are going crazy because they cannot abuse. They don't have access to us like they used to. But more and more of us are waking up and getting out of these situations. But to stay on topic, when I hear these men say, oh, like our grandma, our great grandma. So our great grandmas and all of them, they were not happy. And I want to let these men know that back in the day, a lot of these women, because there was no other place to go, these men were disappearing and dropping like flies. Like there were women who had more than one husband. Like not every woman is a woman that will sit there for years and take abuse.
Let me tell you something.
These men have,
I have never been one of those black women who believed in this happy black woman stuff in the in the 1800s and 1900s. Black women have always had it hard. My great grandma, her husband left her with 5 children, and my great grandma had to work on the railroad. He left her for to raise other children with another woman in a different state, and she struggled raising 5 kids, and this is like the late 1800s or early 1900s, and working on the railroad. I think my great grandma was a sharecropper, um or her mother, one of those, but she worked her butt off, and she wasn't happy. I mean, she found joy in some things in life, but she definitely had it rough, and a lot of women I see in the chats. Simone Lewis says some women stayed with their cheating and abusive men because they couldn't financially afford to leave them, especially a black woman back in the day. You're already struggling cleaning floors, being a nanny, um, living in the poor part of town, worshiping, scraps, trying to find a black husband because they weren't even all getting married back then. And yes, Miss Massini says, let's not forget the Bible's influence, coercing them to stay with abusive men and deadbeats. Okay, continue, Miss Sincere.
so the other thing I wanted to say is this kind of what happened with the women that came before us, because I just get so tired when men say, oh, like our great grandmothers and grandmas, and then anytime I hear a man say that, I always break up. But was she happy? And these men don't understand is that a lot of us women, we see what happened with our grandmas, our mom, our great grandmas, and all of that, and we're just like, no, we're not going to tolerate it. And it's not just relegated to the black community. I see like women in other cultures, especially the Islamic culture, where they grew up in Islam, they went to the mosque, they have plenty of aunts. Everybody has those bitter aunts and the crappy marriages, and they're just like, no, thank you. And now people are getting bad because what's happening now is, given the history of how men in our community have treated us as a single mother race and all of that, it's so many women who do not have kids that are terrified to date. They're terrified to lay down with a man, and they're even terrified to get married when they're just opting out. And the men, even the women in our community who have kids, maybe 1 or 2, we're terrified as well. So we're just like, no, it's okay. I'll stay single. And what's happening because of how poorly these men treated the women before us, and the women before us was like, don't do what I did, do something different, go to college. And we're taking that advice. These men are upset that they can't get one of us now. And it's just like, just treat us well, marry us, treat us better. That's all we're asking. They don't want to do that. And these men don't understand their role on how this current situation has been created by them. They don't care. They just want to be psychopaths and abuse us because there's something demonic about them. The same way was something demonic about our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers and all of that. And honestly, I honestly wish that every single woman, all of our great-grandmas and stuff, got a skillet and just hit grandpa over the head with the skillet anytime she act up.
I have a question, Miss. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but from what I heard, even with the women in church, the older ladies, these women were not happy. They were not happy at all. And that's all I want to say.
Well, let me ask you this. You said that your grandmother had 18 children?
Yeah, well, 18, but I mean, it's only 14 that survived. But she had 2 sets. But the only thing I know about my grandpa's relationship with my grandma is that they would always be arguing and yelling and fighting all the time. Like, she would always be cussing her out and stuff. and yelling and fighting. And they came up, they went to school together back in like the 50s, like, and they came up together down in North Carolina, but he was a truck driver.
Okay, give me 1 second. So I wanted to just ask you, how did they afford to take care of 18 children?
Well, 14, but
14.
This is my understanding. They moved from North Carolina to North New Jersey back in like the early 60s, maybe late 50s. And Grandpa, all I know is that Grandpa was a truck driver. So he just ended up buying a house, a big house, and putting all the kids in this one big house in North New Jersey. And from what I understand, sometimes they would have no light, sometimes they would have no water, but somehow they figured it out. But my grandma, she did not work. But she died in 1984 of lung cancer because she smoked a lot of cigarettes. So.
Yeah, my dad, I never met my grandparents on my dad's side. They both died before I was ever born, and I didn't meet my grandfather. He died on my mother's side when my mom was little. So, okay, so thank you, Miss Sincere.
All right.
Bye. Okay, so what's up, Rocky? No ASAP. How are you? All things Natasha, you said, you know what you said? That's amazing. All things not a Jean. She said nobody ever asked Grandma why didn't she cry when Grandpa died. Damn. I've never thought of that. Give me their name, Sally Hemmings. My moderator is not here. Give me their name so I can look. Let me see who is it? Give me a name so I can go see. Let me look through real quick. Okay, so hold on now. Johnny Henderson. Johnny Henderson, you said only soft feminine men say the word provider. Oh, please. You're weak, Johnny. If you're not a provider, you're not a man. If you don't want to provide and be there for your woman and give love and take care of your kids, please. Now, in some cases, some men can't fully provide because of financial reasons. But do you want to provide? Do you provide something? Do you pay some bills? Please, Johnny. Okay, I'm calling 520. I'm calling you back. You had called twice. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. The phone line is open after this call, y'all. So if you got something to say, you want to spill some tea with Grandma, come on with it. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing? This is Maxwell.
Hey, Maxwell. Slow down some real quick. This is Cerebral. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So, do you have any tea you want to spill? Was your grandma happy?
It's not much of tea. I believe my grandma was happy. I just wanted to say maybe the reason your ladies were unhappy because maybe it was karma.
Ah, bye, baby. Bye, troll. I didn't ask about women today. I asked, was grandma happy? Hold on for a second. Let me call someone back. Hello?
Hello?
This is Cerebral.
I know.
Do you have any tea to spill about grandma?
Absolutely. You know, this theory that, black men only in America, you know, it was only, and all this other crap. I'm the first generation here. My parents are from Jamaica. So it's basically the same situation it was here. It wasn't very good times over there as well. And, most of our grandmothers and even our mothers, they're definitely mammy. And now that black women are around other races of men, we are starting to be molded by other races of men now. So we definitely we have changed because men lead and women follow. That's what I have to say.
Okay. What about your grandma? Do you know?
Yeah, my grandmother came here from Jamaica in the 70s, and her husband died in Jamaica, and she came here to America. But it's pretty much the same thing what you guys are talking about, because I know there's a lot of black foreigners that like to talk like as if things were different, and it wasn't. The only difference is that my grandmother came here from Jamaica, and she became a single mother to my uncle. So by another Jamaican guy that came here. So I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so thank you so much, pro-white male leadership.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Johnny, you said you're not a troll. I'm confused a little bit. You talking about some karma. Let's clear this up. So I know what's going on because I'm getting confused. I'm calling you back right now. Johnny?
I'm kind of nervous now. I know you ladies don't play. I think I done set myself up. I should have just ran when I had the chance.
Well, I'm confused. Okay, this topic is, was your grandma a happy woman with grandpa? You said something about karma. Who's karma and who are you talking about?
Well, what you ladies, thank you for asking me. What you ladies don't realize is I learned all this from you. When I used to read these messages on YouTube, it was always karma for the men. And for example, when a woman kills their kids, it's mental health. But when a man do something such as that, his girlfriend with the 6 kids, with the 6 little girls, they say he should have just walked away. Well, and they said it was no excuse. So why didn't she walk? The lady that killed the kids walk away. So when I say karma, I just thought if it was karma for the men, then maybe it's for the women. Maybe I need some understanding.
Karma for the women? Are you talking about women who are unhappy? You're talking about people killing their kids. Okay.
Okay. Unhappy. I got you. Unhappy. Well, we gotta think about slavery. 400 years of slavery. You see what I'm saying? And so that's even worse. Not only that, we say the grandmothers was unhappy, but 400 years. So we have to figure out why this pressure has been going on. So I feel like, it's just what we put out there.
Hold on now. Do you think that black men are suffering on earth as karma for selling their own people into slavery, and that's why you're getting karma now as black men as suffering?
You know what? That is a great question. See, the black men, they don't know. This is what they don't get. Can I tell you something? Fresh and Fit. Now, I'm on your side with this, so hear me out. And I was upset when they said this. When you get a chance, I want you, Fresh and Fit did a video of, is bullying okay? Is bullying okay? Now, me, my righteous heart, I'm thinking surely these men will say, no, bullying not okay. But these guys said bullying okay because it, what they call it, it makes them better. It grooms them to be better. And I'm like, wow, this is terrible. So I'm like, wow, I thought when these men was calling girls bimbos, I kind of justified it. But now I'm like, wow, this is not righteous. So I'm like, they thinking men are exposing the women, but these men are exposing themselves because these men simply want a woman to love them. But do they love people that they deem that's less than them? Because women, let's be honest, they're the table, right? So how women view the men as less than, so I feel like it's all on logic on how we're, as groups of sexes, man, woman, how we treat each other. You know what I'm saying? And, I feel like somewhere down the line, now, maybe that's what's going on with the grandma ladies. Maybe they was doing something wrong. You see what I'm saying? And who are we giving the glory to? Because end of the day, we all are giving the glory to somebody. Because these days, I'm realizing we're calling each other. Women are calling each other goddesses. So in the end of the day, we are believing that there's a higher entity that's going on. So whoever has the higher entity is the one that get to make the final rules. So if we're not obeying the entity, then even goddesses are subject to becoming unhappy. Because when evil things happen to us, it's not for the bad. It's what we think is for the bad, but it's really for the good.
All right.
To learn to despise evil. So evil happened to us is a lesson to despise it. So now when we see evil, we despise it. But we're not ready to hear that type of truth.
Okay, Johnny. Johnny, I thank you for your call, Johnny. I'm going to take the next call. Thank you, Johnny.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance.
All right, bye.
Awesome.
Okay. That was interesting. Oh, they hung up? Okay. Give me a second. Interesting is a really good word that I can use. I'm not quite sure what was fully going on. There are a number of women, Johnny, who don't do anything wrong, and their husbands still do them dirty. Okay. Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hi, this is Cerebral.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany.
Hey. So I just really am chiming in for the night on the show, but I know that it's about Was Grandma Happy, and I wanted to just give a quick story about that. So my grandmother, my parents, they were born in the 40s, so my grandparents were born like in the 1910s, 1915s, like around that area, and her first husband, she got married to him. She dropped out of high school when she was like 15 years old and got married, had kids, which is the usual thing for people back in the 1920s or so. And she ended up cheating on him with my grandfather. So obviously she was not happy when she cheated on this man. And then she ended up marrying my grandfather and having about 5 or 6 kids with him. So that's pretty much all I know from their relationship. I do know he worked a lot, and I think he was an alcoholic. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, so Were you close to your grandmother? Did she ever tell you about her life and her love life or anything?
Unfortunately, she never really told me about her love life. But she died when I was younger, so that's also part of the reason why I didn't really get to learn as much. So what I have learned is what I learned from my mom and my aunts and uncles, and it's just that little bit of information really that I got from them.
Okay. Well, what about your grandfather? Did he ever express being happy with grandma?
That would be another thing. I didn't really know him either because he died when I was younger too.
Okay.
They were all pretty older at the time, so it's really just me thinking about was she happy or not because she did cheat on him and everything, and then she did leave him, her first husband, and then she did get divorced. So it's really just me thinking about like was she really happy or not.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you for your call.
No problem.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye. Okay, I'm calling someone in North Carolina back. I believe it was North Carolina. All right.
Hello.
Hi, this is Cerebral.
Hi, Cerebral.
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, today's topic is, was your grandmother really a happy woman in her marriage? You know how they say we were so happy and domesticated back in the day, and women were supposedly so much better. What do you know about grandma, her love life, if she was a happy woman?
I don't know about her love life, but I know about her relationship with her son. It wasn't really good.
What happened?
They have two sons. She babied her oldest son too much. She would give him money a lot, and he wouldn't pay her back. Yeah.
I hate stuff like that.
Yeah, and my dad, he don't like him because he would live off her a lot.
A lot of grandmas period, but a lot of black grandmothers were taken advantage of. They have the big mama stereotype where she keeps the family together. She does the cooking. She takes care of the grandkids, and she's always having the stress put on her, always having to work and break her back forever. And it's sad. We definitely don't want to support the big mama thing any damn more these days. But okay, so you know that she basically coddled her son.
Yeah, they used to be a CNA.
Okay.
I guess she used to taking care of people a lot. Yeah, and she's really religious. She's a Christian.
Okay. Hold on for a second. Caramel baby, are you speaking to me or Johnny in the chat? Caramel baby says, how about stop taking women's talking points and make up your own? Who are you talking about, Caramel baby? Clear this up in the chat. I don't know. The chat is moving a little fast, so I don't know all that's what's going on. Okay, so listen, is there anything you want to share with us? Anything, any tea, any more you want to spill?
No, not really. That's just all I have to say.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your call.
You're welcome.
Bye. Y'all know I can go off. I'm holding myself together. I'm holding myself together. I ain't gonna go off on nobody until I know what's going on in this chat. So, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Oh, hi. Oh, I'm on with you. Hi. I'm so happy to chat with you, and I wanted to call and give my 2 cents on your question today.
Okay, give me one quick
With your
second.
grandmother.
I don't mean to be rude. I'm gonna say
No, no
this.
problem.
I'm gonna say this one time since I'm not getting a response. I am one of the original bitches up on here. No one does it like me. We're all different on here. And there ain't one woman on here. We all say similar things because we got great minds and plenty of sense. But I am an original motherfucker up on here and I talk about all types of shit. And I'm not no thief. I don't even watch some other people's videos before I do my video. So let me just say that because I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you're talking to me. But yeah, I hate when people have come on my channel comparing me to other content creators who asses weren't even on here before me. I was saying shit they say before they even said it because I've been on here for 10 motherfucking years. So if anybody try that shit with me, I don't. You might get cursed out because you got women who watch my shit, and I know that for a fact, and don't ever give me fucking credit up on YouTube and acknowledge me. And I've been up on here longer saying the same shit to black women before they did. But I don't know for sure. I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm not getting a response. But yeah, I'm the one of the original bitches up on here, and I don't have to steal nobody talking points on shit. I've had people who are popular make videos saying some shit I already said, and then people come on my video talking about them like they the fucking ringleader up in this bitch, and I've been up on here longer. Please. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Spill the tea, miss.
That's quite all right. You know, sometimes you got to set the record straight. You know what I mean? Hey, this your platform. Y'all gotta respect the queen now. But I wanted to share a little bit about my grandmother.
Okay.
I'm a West Indian woman. First generation American. My grandmother back in her home country, Guyana, that's in South America. She had a relationship with this guy. Come to find out he had a whole nother family across country. She ended up having 2 kids, my mother and my aunt. She had to leave her home country to come to America to scrub toilets and floors. This is like in the 60s and 70s, you know? So like, I don't have many cases. I'm talking about intergenerationally of the black man being a stand-up, dependable provider type of man. I have not seen it, you know. And I don't know how people expect me to. I don't want to say not be smart. I mean, I've done my healing work, but like, I just don't got a lot of trust in them because, like, you know, when we talk about generational trauma, I'm carrying some of that pain from my grandmother. I'm carrying some of that pain from my mother that they've experienced back in the 60s and 70s. But anyway, I want to stay on topic. So my grandmother, when she came to the U.S., she had a relationship with this guy. He was living with her. Kind of find out he still was leaving the country, going back and forth. He had other kids. So, like, my grandmother wasn't happy. She didn't have success in love with black men, with any man. A beautiful woman, you know, a homemaker. She can cook some pots off. You know what I mean? She's spiritual, godly. She raised 2 great children. So, no, my grandmother wasn't happy. For all the submission talk and all the where are the women who cook and clean and rub backs, that's my grandmother, and she's gone. She's, you know, she's living out her days. You know what I mean? So my grandmother wasn't happy. My grandmother wasn't happy. It's not too many women in my family. I'm talking about the older generations that can point me in no type of direction or give me no type of wisdom because they didn't get it right either. And I'll be like, how did y'all expect me to get it right? Y'all didn't get it right. I didn't have no example. You know, I watched y'all tears and they watched my tears. You know, they wasn't able to point me in the right direction at all.
I hate that. It's so many who don't teach you. They do not teach you. It's like I've seen that with my grandma. She was abused before. She had to work like a dog. And instead, I mean, and still was mammying for men, for black men. It didn't make no damn sense whatsoever. And so they didn't really train you and teach you.
No, my mom kind of left me out to the wind. You know what I mean? Just to be honest, I'm not bitter or angry or nothing like that. But my mom, she put the high priority on securing that marriage. Once the first marriage didn't work, and she remarried, everything else was out the window. The D and the marriage that came before me, and she told me like, look, God sees me as a wife before He sees me as a mother. That's what my mom said to me when I was 17. I'll never forget that. I know people just feel like you should just forget stuff, but you don't. Now that I'm a woman and now that I'm a mother, I think about them things, and I'm like, we're two different type of women. Me and my mother and me and my grandmother. Because they didn't pass along certain things, I had to go through the woman's school of hard knocks to get it the hard way.
That happens so
right.
much. I hate it.
The price for my daughter, But no, wasn't prepared. My grandmother's not happy, and she hates to see me happy. Like, I went to Mexico for my birthday. She wanted me to take my daughter with me on my birthday vacation. She was so mad to see me go out the country, celebrate myself, enjoy myself outside of motherhood. I'm the type of woman that I make a very clear line and a very clear distinction between womanhood and motherhood.
You still gotta have your life.
You still gotta have your life. People think like I'm supposed to die on the sword of motherhood. No, boo-boo. No. I was moving and shaking, pop, lock, and drop it before I had my child. Traveled the world, got my degree, life keep rolling on. But my grandmother, she hates to see that I'm like a woman. Like, there's a clear distinction between me being a woman and then me functioning in the mother role. My grandmother hates that because she threw it all away behind men, behind chasing dick and marriage and relationships. I'm not like that because of them.
You know what I like is that
absolutely no bitterness. Like, I'm very happy.
Then are you still in your 20s or are you in your 30s?
I'm about to be 40 years old.
Okay, still young.
I've been celibate for 2 years.
It's so good to see black women waking up.
Yeah.
We are not going to be like our grandmas completely. I'm not saying that we all had messed up grandmas, but a lot of black women from back in the day were heavily brainwashed, oppressed, male identified, okay, and took a lot of abuse.
Under the watchful eyes of these mothers, aunts, and grandmothers. I'm telling you, these mothers, aunts, and grandmothers. I really want to do a video, but I'm not a YouTuber. But I got a lot of opinions about stuff because I'm a childhood SA survivor, and these mothers, aunts, and grandmothers, some of them, they're nothing but a demonic presence in the lives of these children. It's so much to clean up, Cerebral, and I don't want to get off topic, but my grandmother was not happy. She's not happy right now. And she see me living as a single, free, divested woman, legs closed, ain't trying to, I got on my standards. She hated.
You know what?
The same type of woman being my grandmother.
There are mothers and grandmas who are in competition with their daughters and granddaughters, and that shit is not normal. That's something ain't right. I've seen it, and something is very, very not right about that. Something. It's crazy.
Why that happens? I have a theory about why that happens. Can I just touch on it for 2 seconds and then I'll go? Because I know people be waiting.
No, go ahead.
Women, they don't take the time to get to know themselves. If you drink this sauce, the Kool-Aid, don't drink the Kool-Aid. You still have to develop yourself, your personhood, and you as a woman. This relationship chasing in men and marriage is not the end all be all. Because then you get the ring and you get in the marriage and then what? Now you heartbroken, you stuck and confused. I'm not saying in all cases. I know that this is not across the board, but what happens is you were so busy chasing D, you forgot to take care of yourself. Then you got to 45 and 50. Now you got a daughter and her son is rising and your son is setting. Now you got a daughter and her breast is perky. She looked good and she looked better than the mom. And it's not even that she looked better than the mom. These moms, they be realizing they did not reach their full potential. They did not go after their dreams and goals. And now their daughter is rising up and it makes them mad.
But you know what?
You waste all your life chasing D.
I would think that as a mom, you would be happy for your daughter to be better. Like, you want them to represent you. Like, you're representing me, and you're going to be better than me. And you're going to make the family better, and you'll have a better family, and you're going to carry on my legacy and just represent for me and be better. Like, you would think they would be supportive, like, because you come from me.
Oh, no. You know, when it was time for me to get my driver's license, my mom hid my birth certificate and my social. I'm talking like there are women out there, I'm not saying all, some of you have had wonderful, excellent, healthy relationships with your mother. God bless you. Everybody didn't have that. I didn't. There are ways now that at 40 I can look back and see like, damn, my mom really sabotaged me in some years.
That's horrible.
It happens.
Do you still talk to your mother?
Absolutely not. No. I don't talk to her. I caught my stepfather in a room with my daughter, and it has completely broken up the family. I tried to talk to my mom about it. I tried to talk to her privately. I've tried to, Mom, I tried to Iyanla Vanzant my way through the situation to get my truth heard. She's not trying to hear it. She's trying to safeguard this second marriage at all costs. I'm nothing like them. I moved cross country. I'm completely divested. I'm nothing like the women in my family. They cannot offer me anything outside of Navy scriptures.
Oh, Lord.
It's applicable.
Sometimes you have to distance yourself and keep your peace and keep your children safe so that they're not influenced by toxic family members.
Some of us is called on to be the generational breakers, to the curse breakers. What I mean, if that's you got a hard boat to row. You got to press. Those of you that's listening, if it's you, you know what I'm saying. Some of us are the trauma breakers. Like the buck stops here with some of us.
Yes. It can be very lonely.
Yes, it is. It is. But it's also empowering in a way. I love your show so much.
Thank
I tune
you.
in all the time. I'm Queen of Hearts in the comments. I'm sorry for talking, but I enjoy you so much.
I love you. Would I be able, listen, I want to do a show. The Spiritual Whistleblower on TikTok is amazing. She made a video saying you don't have to take care of your elderly parents who abused you, and people got mad at her. She said a mouthful. So I said, I think I want to do a call-in show inspired by what she said. I want to play some of her clips and stuff, and I want to know, how do people feel about taking care of their mother or father who treated them wrong? Would they take care of them when they get old?
I already told my mom, don't look at me. You better look at that stepson you have with the second husband, because I'm not changing no diapers. Absolutely not. Not some of the things that I went through, not some of the things that my mom said. And now I'm trying to heal the situation for me, for you, and for your granddaughter. And you don't want to do the healing work, it's okay. I'm going to continue on healing. But when them bones start to rattle, don't even look my way. And I'm dead serious.
Yes. So, I thank you for your call.
I'll be in the comments. You are welcome.
I definitely want you to, every time, call in, period. Anything we talking about, call in. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarita,
all right.
so much. Okay, peace.
Bye. Oh, she's so sweet. Also, let me apologize to Caramel. Where is she at? Caramel baby. I'm not even sure if you was talking to me. So, like I said, if you weren't, I'm sorry. I don't know if you were talking when you said stop taking women talking points and make up your own. I don't know if you was talking to Johnny in the chat, who people feel is a troll. I'm not even 100% sure, but I still want to say I'm still gonna stand by what I said though. When people compare me to older, newer content creators, and we all say similar things. So I've said things before them, and they get more credit, or people pretend they don't know who I am, and I've been up on here and stuff like that. It's irritating. Or when they come on my channel trying to compare me to other people, um, who I was out before them. But you didn't say anything, Caramel Baby. You didn't haven't responded, so I don't know what's going on. If it was meant for Johnny or you were talking to me, I'm not sure. Hey, Miss Sincere.
Hey, I just had to call back and say something really quick to address something in regards to when that guy called in and what he was saying.
Yeah, Johnny.
A lot of, I noticed it's like, this topic right here is a good topic to where we could, like, we as women, black women, can come together and have a good breakthrough. Like, a good breakthrough and get things off of our chest and learn new things that we did not know. And I've noticed that when we have topics like this where we can have a real breakthrough, it's like anytime there's a space for us black women to congregate together, it attracts non-black people and it attracts black men, particularly dusty men. And what I've noticed is they will come and be problematic to completely like derail everything with all their negative energy, like with all their demonic. To me, it's demonic. To me, it's demonic. To me, it's like the devil trying to stop you from getting the blessing. That's the only way I can describe it. Because essentially what he was saying, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but he was basically saying, in a nutshell, that whatever our grandmas went through, that they pretty much deserved it and that we're evil.
Yeah, the karma. It was their karma. And then he was, honestly, I started not to understand what the hell he was talking about. He was kind of all over the place talking about worshiping the entity and
what he was doing was, it's kind of like building, it's kind of like what happens in a lot of stories. It's like a build-up. Like he was describing scenarios and building a foundation to say what he was really trying to say. But he was doing it in a way to where you would not have noticed. It's hard to notice unless you pay attention to the pattern. But essentially, with us trying to get a breakthrough of what we were talking about, we're talking about how evil they are and how abusive they are and how unhappy our grandmas really were. And our grandmas were the ones that were the victims. And as far as I'm concerned, we're the victims. We are the victims. And they are the assailants. They are the abusers. And what he was trying to do was be like, no, you're not victims. You deserve the abuse. You guys are evil too. We're not the bad guys. Well, he didn't say that they weren't the bad guys, but he was basically saying, well, y'all are evil too. And that's not the case. Because we women, we're not the ones abandoning the children. And mind you, a lot of us are not perfect. A lot of our grandmas and moms and stuff made mistakes. But at least they stayed and they tried, even if they messed up, even if they was not perfect. They're the ones that are being abusive, beating on people, having kids here and there, abandoning people, and abandoning women that have committed themselves to them and sacrificed themselves to them. And for him to try and say that we're the evil ones over abortion, because that's what he was saying too. He was talking about abortion when he said the sacrificing of children.
Yeah, but
had nothing to do with the topic at hand.
Yeah, because black women in the damn 40s and 50s was not getting no damn abortions like that. So, yes, go ahead.
No, we was not getting abortions. But essentially what he was trying to do was stop us from getting our blessings, stop us from receiving whatever we're supposed to receive from this conversation tonight so we as black women can have a breakthrough. And I've noticed this. Again, every single time when we get together, like the last time, remember on your panel, and that guy came up there, and he was just not making any sense, and he was saying, stop speaking bad about black men, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. They're always happening. If people like him, you give him maybe a few minutes, and we gotta cut him off, because he had nothing of substance to say except for projection and trying to shame us and say, well, y'all deserve it too. Y'all are evil too. And that really grinds my gears, because they know how they are. Our grandfathers know how many different families that they have. Our grandfathers know about all the women that they slept with and screwed over, and all the multiple families that they had, and the STDs that they brought back. Our grandfathers know about, the white women that they whistled at, knowing full well that it could have got the entire black community destroyed, and they didn't care. They went after that white woman. I mean, I'm going on a limb here, but you get what I'm trying to say. They know they're evil and wicked. I'm not saying we're not we're perfect, but how bad our men are. If we as black women were really that bad, we would not be the most educated, the most in entrepreneurship, the most in graduation rate. When we black women get put in environments where with our white female counterparts, we do the same, if not better. But when black men get with their white male counterparts or their other male counterparts, they still do just as bad as if they're in the hood. Mm-hmm. So for them to say that we are not blessed, that we're for him to say that is just completely insulting and upsetting to me. And I'm trying to not let what the Dusty said bother me, but that really irks me, because the proof is in the pudding. They are the ones that are dying alone in the nursing home. Like, just bottom line, how your kids feel about you is a good sign of what type of person you were. Majority of us, we're not perfect, but at least our kids still want to be there for us. And same thing, I'll use this as an example. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, like when they were going through their whole situation and their divorce, the way you know who was the one in the wrong, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's kids do not want to deal with Brad Pitt because they're afraid of him. They don't like him. They remember how he did. So these men know how they are. The kids and everything, remember, we know how they are. We are not the bad guys here. We're not perfect. There's some of us, who are going to die alone, who are awful, but the majority of them, they just did not give an F. They abandoned their kids. They do all this stuff, and they're the ones that are wrong. And that's all I wanted to say.
But I agree with you, and don't let Johnny get to you. Also, all races of people could call in if they want to. You know what I would say though? Go to a nursing home and just ask any old woman. I don't care what race she is. Ask any older woman who was married about their relationship, and they probably got stories for days. If a lot of people were to ask their grandma, for real, did grandpa ever cheat? Did grandpa ever hit you? They might be shocked with what they hear.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like every time I have these, every time one of these dusties come in and they try to converse and they try to derail the space and make it seem like we're the ones in the wrong, I say that when you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, into the end of your life, as far as I'm concerned, the end of your life is a testament of the sum of all the choices that you made in your life and how you lived your life. And if you was really an evil, wicked person, then you're going to be in that nursing home, dying alone. Your kids won't visit you. Because I refuse to believe that a man who is actually a good person, didn't have multiple families when he dies, that his kids are not going to visit him if he was really decent. So we're the only ones keeping us together. We're the community. They are not the community. They abandoned the community a long time ago. They don't care. They just care about themselves and getting their eggplant sucked and having, all they care about is sex. That's what I'm saying. All they care about is sex and being abusive and being psychopaths. They can't do that. They go crazy. So that's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that out there.
Well, thank you, Miss Sincere. Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Okay, I'm calling someone back. This might be the last caller of the night, but that's if anybody else wants to call in. We'll see what happens. 813. Hi, this is Cerebral.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Am I online?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just tuning into your show. Now, are you asking, like, are you talking about why our grandfathers, wasn't happy as far as their wives?
No,
What do you mean?
I'm
'Cause I was just tuning
asking,
in.
was your grandma, if you know, if she told you, was your grandma really happy in her love life with grandpa? You know, did grandpa ever cheat? Did grandpa beat her? Did he make other babies? Was she happy overall? Did she struggle? You know, what was grandma's life like?
Got you. Okay, that's basically what I was asking. Okay, you just kind of flipped it. Okay, got you. I will say that this is kind of personal, but it's happened in 1994, so it's okay. Um, my grandfather actually cheated on my grandmother and actually married his mistress. So
Mm.
to answer your question, yeah.
So did he divorce? So he divorced, your grandfather, did he divorce the first wife eventually? You know.
My grandmother, yeah, they got a divorce and he actually married his mistress.
And
And
what happened with your grandma?
he was a pastor. He was a pastor.
Oh Lord.
And yeah, he was a pastor, and it was a church thing, and his wife, or his second wife that he married, she was a member of the church. So,
Oh Lord. So it was a church affair.
Yeah, it was a church affair. Yeah.
So did your grandma ever recover? Did she remarry? Did she get angry? Did she struggle?
Yeah, she was hurt. She was hurt, but she got back on the feet and everything. She's always been a hard worker. Um, she's a hairdresser. Um, you know, and she's always bounced back. But her second husband died in 2017, and then she got remarried in 2019.
Oh, grandma still got she got her another man.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
still
she
be
got another
sad though,
man.
you know.
Yeah, but it happened in 1994, so I think she's over it. She's over it now. Happened so long ago. But yeah, it was a thing, and but that reminded me of. So you remember Joe Jackson? He had another child.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather never had another child, but he had a second, family or whatever. And Michael and Janet, some of the siblings wasn't really feeling Giovanni like that because it's kind of like you help destroy our parents' marriage,
Mm. Yeah, I saw it. I saw the daughter.
Yeah, they kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. So I don't know what it was. I don't know if that was a thing back in the day. I don't know, but
I think it was way more common than what we want to truly probably believe.
Way more common like back in the day, or
yeah, I definitely think it was common back in the day. Especially, come on, there was hardly no birth control and all this stuff. Men are still men. Women are still women were beautiful back then, So I don't believe for a second they wasn't creeping back in the day and had secret children and all this other stuff. So
now they say Martin Luther King was creeping back in the day. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
Mhm. Yeah, the FBI had it recorded and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
They said he had a white woman too.
It was a white woman, you sure?
That he was dating or was in love with a white woman but married Cora, his wife, but he definitely was creeping. Like they have the evidence that he was creeping. So, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I don't know if that was a rumor or if that was, but I did hear them say that the FBI. You're right. It was the FBI that they was sneaking into his phone calls. And following him in hotels and all kind of weird stalker shit stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was more common back in the day. I don't know, I don't know about that as much as it is, in today's world, but I think it was kind of common back in those
Oh
days.
yes, it's always gone on since the beginning of time. Martin Luther King's wife, there is no evidence that she had a white parent at all. There is no evidence that his wife had a white mama or daddy. I've never seen it. So, as she's an African American woman, did this is America. We all have mixed heritage. So if she did, that ain't shocking. But as far as her having a straight up white mama or daddy, there is no evidence of that whatsoever. Okay, so I thank you for your call. I'm gonna take the next call. Coretta, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. God bless you.
Bye. Thank
All
you.
right.
God bless you. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
One more thing. Now, I remember you saying, this is kind of off topic, but you had a video in a few years ago, you was like this girl in your high school looked just like Aaliyah.
Yes.
Have you seen that girl? I'm curious to see this girl.
I haven't seen her in years, but she looks so much like her. Like when Aaliyah passed, it really hit me how much she looked like her. I mean, she really, really looked like her. She's like the only girl or whatever, teenager that I had seen that really looked like her. But yeah.
That's so crazy. That's crazy. I wish you could find her on Facebook or something, but okay, I'm a big fan of Aaliyah. That's why I was
Me
asking.
too. And I don't come across I've seen some similarities, but a straight up exact face. Aaliyah had some people just got faces you don't see. Yeah. It's not common.
She looked Egyptian. She looked very Egyptian. Aaliyah. She had a real pretty face.
Yeah, she was so gorgeous.
I was curious to see what that girl looked like. But okay then. Well, I ain't gonna hold you. I know you got.
If I were to ever run across her, I would show you her. But you would have been mesmerized then if you saw her in person. Like, oh my God, she looks like her. She was so beautiful.
That would spook me.
So.
That would spook me out.
Yes.
That would spook me out. Oh my God.
Yes.
All right, love.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
You so much. Okay, bye-bye.
And yes, she was African American. There are people who swear to God, no African American. There are African American women who look similar to Aaliyah. Aaliyah does have one of those unique faces where I don't find someone that looks straight up like her, but except that one girl. But I have seen women with very similar features, like they could be her cousin or maybe her sister or something like that. Okay. Let's see. I am calling. Oh no, sorry. I'm calling 630 back. Oh, I got a call. Okay, give me 1 second. Venus, you said you look like Aaliyah. He was on the line. Show your face some way. We want to see. Hello?
Yeah, it's pro-white male leadership again.
Yes, hello.
Yes. So, can I say a couple of words? I
Yes.
You're going to end this live.
Yes.
Yes. So, this is the deal, right? Like, we have these discussions online, and it's a great thing to have discussions online. So, are we going to learn from our grandmothers and mothers' mistakes? And are we going to do things different? Or are we going to continue just to talk about the problem and not do nothing about the problem?
Well, everyone is different. Hopefully, I think Black women, from what I see, hold on, let me write this number down. I think I see changes, not wanting to do the 50-50, not settling for abuse like our grandmas. It's slowly happening. Of course, there's going to be some that's just going to be left behind. But I see a shift. I see the shift happening with younger black girls where they don't want to be abused no more and settling for less and not being happy. Unfortunately, they're learning it from other black women because some of our mothers, not my mama, but a lot of black girls' mamas and grandmas, they don't teach them different than what they did.
Well, but what black women, you have to understand that a lot of our mothers and grandmothers are black male identified, and all you're dealing with when it comes to a black male identified black woman is you're dealing with a black man biologically and emotionally. It's just in a female form.
I agree.
So a black male worshiper, a mammy, it is a black man. It's just a black man that has boobs and a vagina.
Yeah.
And that's where the hatred for their black daughters come from, because they're black male identified and black men hate black women.
Well, the first step, they have to more and more black girls are going to have to be able to identify what the mammy is, because a lot of them don't realize that their mama and grandma is one. Then they're going to have to mentally and emotionally separate from them, and when they start these changes, they're going to have to keep a secret from them, because they'll try to change your mind and change you to make you be exactly have their mindset. You're going to have to be strong and step away and be the lone wolf.
So, I mean, the thing is that are black women going to seek better leaders?
I think some will, but we also got to accept that there's also, I think it's 50-50. I think 50% are, and 50% are going to hold out for hope and try to be race loyal. That's just how I see it right now. Unless it just keeps getting worse and then they realize that they need to think about themselves and choose better partners.
Well, if we're not going to move on and go somewhere else, then things are obviously going to get worse. That's just really what it is.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
Black men have made themselves very clear how they feel about us, and they've been making that clear for centuries now. It started from them selling us to white European men. So this has been a very long history of treasonous behavior, racism towards men that we're basically giving birth to.
Yeah. Unfortunately, what I think is going to happen, I think even the black women who think about dating other races, some of them are going to be too scared to do it or too under pressure. And what they're going to do, they're probably going to stay race loyal, end up having sex with some black man that they're dating. He probably won't marry. They're going to end up pregnant. Then they're going to have daughters and sons. And then their daughters and sons is going to repeat the same thing that we're seeing now. Then she might possibly wake up and try to teach her daughter different, or not, still hold out on for hope. I just see the cycle of what we're seeing now continuing, unless, I mean, I've been seeing these videos of the black men saying they're going to Colombia to get wives, and to Thailand and to Brazil. I think that maybe they'll finally see the light the more black men keep rejecting them, and then it becomes unbearable for them. And then they might get some sense. Yeah.
So you want to be with black men because they were rejected by what they really want?
Not me personally. I'm saying that black women, some of them are just going to stay. It's just how it is. They don't want to give up hope. They want to keep hope alive. They're going to have sex with black men. They're going to end up pregnant. They're going to have children, and then their daughters are going to go through exactly what they go through. And then they might finally wake the fuck up, or they might not. Then the other half will continue to, date other races or date better men, period. So I think This is just natural. Some are going to advance, and some are just going to be left behind. That's all I see happening for right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm more on an extreme approach. Um, I believe that this is how I feel. I feel like it's very important for non-Black women to be with Black men. That's extremely important for Black women. And I've made myself very clear online numerous of times. You know, I have an organization that I'm doing. I'm not trying to promote it here or anything, but I feel like it's time for Black women to start putting the energy towards the men that we need.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yes. Well, we are online. They hear it, they see it a hell of a lot more than they ever did online. Some are listening, and some are still holding out for hope.
Okay. Well, I'm more on a more extreme approach. So, like I said, Black women need white men. That's just really what it is. And we need to focus on the men that we need. We need to focus on marrying the men that we need. That's what we need, and having children with the men that we need. That's what we need to focus on right now.
Okay. I'm just quiet because I want you to talk. I want you to let everybody know what you got to say. Okay.
No, I'm just saying that we Black men are failures. We have a long history of failure from Black men. If you look throughout history, we've always had to go for white men when Black men have always failed. Even till present day. So, with that said, we need to focus and take our energy to the men that have already have been there and make ourselves a priority so we can get more.
Okay. All right. So listen, I'm going to make 3 more calls that have come in, and that's it. So I thank you, Pro White Male Leadership. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Well, y'all heard what she said. That's her opinion, and many share it. But, the Black women who are going to do it are going to do it. Me, I just like all races of men. So, I would be dating all races of men regardless if it was a crisis in this so-called community or not. There are Black men that like me who some of them have decent jobs, some don't. Um, I believe you need to do what makes you happy. I can't tell you how to be happy. What makes you happy might be different than what I think will make a woman happy. I think you need to get with men who share your values, who want to get married to you. If you don't want to get married, that's your decision. But maybe you just want to have a healthy, long lasting relationship with a man who loves and respects you. The older you get, the more likely you will meet men of all races who have children. So that's a reality too. Some don't have children, some do. You do what makes you happy. If you're going to date a white man, if you're going to date a white man or any race of man, don't lose your standards because you have dusties in all races. Don't date the dusties. Date the one. Turn me down in the background, please. Um,
Sorry.
it's okay. No, it's fine. Yes, don't lose your standards. I don't care what race he is. Don't put up with no bullshit from any man, point blank, period, whether he's white or not. White men, there are a number of them who are a lot more educated and have better careers. So it would be great for a number of you to open yourselves up to them. I think you would be foolish to only stay in one dating pool. So, okay, how are you doing?
I'm good, Cerebral. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
You know, I'm pretty good. I was, of course, watching the live, and I was finishing some work. And I just always find it, like, astonishing how the men show up in this chat and start, like, throwing their comments out and saying that we're not going to leave. I just find that so weird. Like, the obsession with us is so weird because, like, I never, ever go into the manosphere. I never go into any of those spaces to argue with them. So it's like, who are y'all trying to prove anything to? Like, like, seriously, who are they trying to prove anything to? Like, and they always show up in your chat. They show up in all of the, like, the Black women chat. Like, they just show up and they go on and on about how we're not going to leave or how they don't want us. Mainly it's you don't want us. But I'm like, that's so weird. You're here.
Girl, you know they lying. They lying. That's why.
It got to be the ugly man. It has to be the, because you're just not going to convince me that a good-looking man has this type of time. Like that dude, one of them, the Johnny or whatever, like he's typing, and I'm just like, why? Why are you here? It's weird for you to be in women's spaces. This is exactly why nobody respects y'all. Because literally you could be doing something better with your time. Like, I don't know, working a second job. But you're not doing that. You're here talking to women, trying to browbeat them into accepting your nothingness, your existence. It's weird.
Yeah.
And you know, as far as the topic, my grandmother was not. Both of my grandparents are now deceased. My grandmother actually lived about 10 more years after my grandfather. And she literally told my cousin, my older cousin was one of the very few in our family that got a divorce. And it's funny, her mom divorced her dad. She was literally the only daughter and child, actually, of my grandmother that got a divorce. But her daughter ended up getting a divorce as well, too. And she got a divorce because her husband was a deadbeat. Like, he just, all he wanted to do was smoke chronic. And he worked, but he didn't have, like, the type of mind frame where you save money. And if you don't have money for the trees and you got to pay the bill. Like, he's still gonna get his trees. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, don't get me wrong. I'm a smoker myself, but I have my priorities, right? And it's just really crazy to me how, like, men will think that way, but then be so confused on why a woman don't want to be with them or why they can't get that woman back. And my grandmother told my cousin, she said, you know what? She said, if I were you, I understood why you divorced him. She said, if I knew what I knew now, I would have left your grandfather a long time ago. And I believe her. Because I, as a child, even witnessed how my grandfather used to talk to my grandmother. He was so sweet to us, right? Like, loved to see his grandkids, was very affectionate to us, give us candy and all that stuff. But he would literally talk to my grandmother in the most disrespectful ways. And I'm 100% sure that he had at least 3 to 4 children outside of having children with her.
Lord, that's very, 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 very common.
Like, it's ridiculous. There's no reason and rationale for any of us as women, any women on earth, not even just Black women, any of us as women, to really put up with the mess that men are going to subject you to. Like, I don't understand that. I think one of the content creators said that Cher said that men are deserved. They are. Y'all gotta stop acting like they are the ones that control how you live your life. You are literally giving up your life just to take on some man's last name. Why? What is that doing for any of us? If you took on this lame-ass Johnny Henderson dude, what do you think you gaining from him? What you gonna gain from him? What does he have? Probably not a damn thing. Probably a job at Walmart. Hey, if you work at Walmart, baby, do your thing. But at least strive to be the manager. Most Black men are so complacent and just doing the bare minimal in every aspect of their life. Not just in relationships, but at their job. There have been so many Black dudes who I talked to that deem themselves as good men and legit, when you talk to them about their goals and their ambition, they are completely complacent being just the employee. They don't want the responsibility of being a manager. And then they don't want this. They're confused on why their wives left them. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Ladies, we are at the most, like literally, there was never a time in history that our ancestors, as women, right, as women, there was never a time in history that women had as much power as we do now. We literally can take care of ourselves.
And it bothers men because women are saying, why I don't have to. A lot of women back in the day was forced to stay in those unhappy relationships because he was the breadwinner. Now women are saying I could be bad on my own. I could be miserable by my damn self and pay my own bills without being stuck with you mistreating me, and I can't buy what I want. I'm miserable. And it scares a lot of men because they know, wow, she can leave me. She won't have to solely be stuck with me. I can't treat her any way I want to. So.
Which would be why they are so tagging more women, because of realizing they don't have that power. Like, that power has been robbed and assaulted of them. They don't like that. They don't like that you have a mind of your own. They don't like that you're able to say, you know what, if I don't want to have kids, I'm not going to have kids. I'm not going to have kids with you, even if I'm married and that's not what I want to do. I'm not going to do that with you. It was a trap back then. They did trap women back then. Think about it. They were trapping women just off of the acknowledgement of the age, right? Like, my grandmother, I think she was 16 when she married my grandfather. And if I'm not mistaken, my grandfather, I think he was like 6 years older than her. So when you think about like the way that they set up that dynamic, and I think that's like what has continuously carried forward, because men have always been messing with women that are younger than them, because again, it's easier to manipulate and control women. And we're so busy being mad at each other for the decisions that we made when it comes to a man, or we're mad at each other because, you messed with this married man or whatever, when he out here for the streets and for everybody. You gonna put more of your energy in being mad at that woman who don't have no loyalty to you than the man that really literally gave you his last name and put a ring on your finger. That's the control that we have allowed these men to have over us. I think at this point, the discussion is no longer about, well, how are we going to get men to act right? I think it's about each and every one of us as women realizing the power that we have, and that men are just dessert in our life. And sometimes, baby, you can go without dessert. Dessert be making you fat.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yes. Women, we've been taught that marriage is everything, and a lot of women lose themselves. They lose themselves, especially after they get married, where, you're solely devoted to only trying to make him happy, trying to make sure he doesn't cheat, watching the kids 24/7. And I mean, I don't have anything against cooking and cleaning all for my kids. And if my husband's good, making it, you want to make him happy. He's making me happy. But you can't lose yourself. Don't give up your hobbies. Don't give up your dreams just because you're married now. Or even if you're not married, it's true. Everybody lives their life, and who comes into your life is just an addition to your life, because your husband could die anytime and then you'll be single all over again. And when you get old, then you get old, and he might die before you, and you have to be in life alone. So you gotta keep a part of you and still try to make yourself happy as well. And you don't want to be always completely under him. It's okay to love him and you want attention, but it's okay. Go out shopping. I think if I was married, I think we should have a chill room. I know some men have a man cave, but like a room in the house that when you want some space to just be alone and do your thing, you can go in the room, and we'll have a computer in there, a TV, all types of stuff, just space so that y'all can breathe and don't forget who you are, and don't be so attached to where y'all get bored with each other so quick, or you lose who you are. It's good to still do things, still have hobbies and all this other stuff. So thank you so much for calling.
Absolutely.
All
And
right.
I just want to say this last thing, and of course, you ladies have a good night. It's nothing wrong with desiring to have love, right? But what's wrong with it is when you literally are sacrificing yourself to have it. When you're sacrificing your sanity, when you're sacrificing your health, that's not God. That's not God. That's not God. Like, there's nothing about that is righteous or that makes sense. And we have common sense, y'all. So I just want y'all ladies to choose yourself. They don't expect you to. They don't want you to. Never in history were we able to make these types of decisions. We have that power now. Use your power. Be the best person that you're going to be in this lifetime. And love yourself, ladies. Period. That's all I got to say. Thank you, Cerebral.
Thank you so much. And you know what? As women, you might have to be okay with accepting. You might not end up with a husband, but you can still live life and be happy, because that's a growing thing that I see I want to talk about in the future. Women who have decided they don't want children, who are living life the way they want, and they say they're very happy. So when I do that show, I want you to call in.
Yes,
all right.
Absolutely. I would definitely do that. Keep
All
doing
right.
what you do, Cerebral, and ladies, have a good night.
Thank you. Bye. Sometimes, life doesn't always end up like how you thought, but that doesn't mean you still can't end up happy with your own version of happiness. Happiness don't always have to be with what people told you it is or what it looks like. It could be what you feel it is and how you want to live.
Please leave your message for.
Okay, give me a second. I've had some calls that I've missed. Okay, I'm calling 630 back. 630.
Hello?
Hi, this is Cerebral.
Hi, Cerebral. I was just calling you. So it's funny that I just got your call and I'm calling you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So, I'm Tater. I have not said anything in the chat today. I've been listening, but I've been waiting for this conversation. I have come onto your live before, and I've told you about some of my grandmother's story before. I'm the one who called in about my auntie having not been in a relationship since like the 90s. If you remember that.
I think so, and I think I was upset hearing that. That's a long time.
I'm also the one with the brother who is actually now 37 years old and still a virgin.
Oh Lord, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yep. I was like, let me just remind her real quick. So I am that caller. And I wanted to call on this one because both my grandmothers, they went through some shit with my grandfather. So I'm gonna try to be quick with both, but on my dad's side, now my grandmother, on my dad's side, she got married at 15, and the reason why I know this is because I actually spent a summer with like 19, 20, I think, because he ended up going off to the military for a little bit. So he was years older than her, but she was 15. They get married. They had 3 kids. Her first child, she ended up being a stillborn, so he died at birth. So my dad ended up being the eldest out of the 2 that survived. Now, my grandfather wasn't no nice man on my dad's side. Actually, both sides, but especially my dad's side. He was beating my grandmother. And unfortunately, because they would fight each other actually, but he was ultimately beating my grandmother, and then my grandmother would beat my dad and my uncle. So she didn't really have a lot of power. At least she probably felt like she didn't have really a lot of power over my grandfather. So she would reroute her anger and energy towards her children. And so my dad grew up abused by his mother, but he was never abused by his dad. So my grandfather never abused his son, but he only abused his wife on my dad's side. So anyway, he was beating my grandmother, and even though my grandmother never worked, she was a housewife. According to my grandmother, she lived to serve my grandfather. After my grandfather died, she wanted to die because she felt like she had nothing else to live for. So that's my grandmother's whole life was my grandfather. Does that make sense?
Okay, repeat that one more time.
Okay. So my grandmother, her life was all about my grandfather. So when my grandfather died, she wanted to die. She felt like there was nothing else to live for.
Because her husband died.
Yes, because my grandfather died.
How old was he?
Actually tried to. Oh God, I don't remember how old he was. I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm 25 now.
So she was. What was she? Was she in her 60s or 70s when she felt like this?
So she was probably in her 70s because she lived probably her late 70s, but he was in his 80s. And he died first. She just lived her life for him, and she was just obsessed with him. And when he died, my grandmother died back in early 2020. It wasn't because of COVID. It was just of natural causes. But before that, my grandmother died. Like, she let her health go to shit, and she let herself she wanted to die. So she died one time back in 2019, and then they resuscitated her. So she did live another year till 2020, and then she officially died.
Damn.
Yeah, girl, I'll tell you the next one with my other grandmother. This ain't the worst one. But yeah, so she did die in 2020, but that's not her first time dying. So, but she's always wanted to die because he died, and she just felt like there was nothing else to live for. But he was beating her, and we found out when my grandfather died that he actually had another family. We all found out. I was a sophomore in high school. My dad found out he had a sister. So my grandfather had a completely separate family. My family's from Mississippi. So he had a completely different family somewhere else in Mississippi, and we met my step aunt. I'll just call her my aunt. I don't know much about her, but I met her at his funeral. So, and my dad met her at I think he met her before because he went ahead of us before we got to Mississippi. So I think he met her a few days before the funeral, but me and my family, we met her at the funeral. So my grandfather was truly been around on my dad's side. So that's my dad's side.
Wait 1 second. You said that she died more. You mean she almost died more than one time before? You said they resuscitated her.
Yeah. So back in 2019, she did die. Because she was letting her health fail. She was purposely doing it because she didn't want to live anymore. She just wanted to die because her husband was gone. So she also had high cholesterol and diabetes. So she wasn't eating right on purpose. And so she wanted to let her health fail on purpose. And so when she did die, they resuscitated her. So she, like I said, she lived for one more year, and then 2020 she died natural causes at that point.
Now, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
I know he cheated on her, but clearly she was very in love with him. Did the family ever try to say you need to maybe, I'm not going to say try to get a new man as soon as he dies, but did anybody want her to try to find a new husband or get her into some hobbies or something to keep herself busy?
Honestly, Cerebral, I'm not sure. It doesn't sound like, after learning about her life, it doesn't sound like anybody was really trying to encourage her to move on. I mean, she found out at her old age that her husband had a whole new family. So, and I didn't see any reactions from her about it. I guess maybe she thought it's happened. They're here now. They're grown, so it didn't matter to her, I guess. But honestly, I don't even know if I doubt people did, honestly.
Okay, so I mean, it's not uncommon for couples to die after each other. Despite the things he did to her, she still was in love with him, and I guess her heart was so broken that she just wanted to die, and eventually she did die. Okay, so tell us more about the others.
Okay, so I've already told you a little bit about on another live of yours. I can't remember the name of it, but on another live about this grandmother. So both of my parents are from Mississippi. So I live in Illinois though, but my grandfather and my grandmother on my mom's side had 7 children, 6 girls and 1 son. And my grandfather was beating all of his kids and his wife. And he was sleeping around on my grandmother. Now, we don't know if he has any other children out there. Nobody has shown up to my grandfather's door talking about you, my daddy. So we don't know. But he was sleeping around on my grandmother a lot. He was also an alcoholic. And he, especially when he would drink, he would get very abusive. And unfortunately, at my grandfather's old age, he doesn't even remember the stuff that he's done because he was always drunk doing it. So he doesn't remember it. At least that's what he says. But my grandmother only lived to be about 50 on my mom's side. And I put this in your comment section earlier today when you had your on the community post where you were showing that you're going to do this live.
Yes.
But I had mentioned that my grandmother, she prayed to God to live to see all of her grandchildren born.
Okay.
And after all of us were born, she met all of us, she died.
Wow.
And it's unfortunate. Yeah, after all of us, were born, she passed away a year later. I was the third to last grandchild of hers born. So I had an official one that was born in 98. She died in 98. And she knew she was going to die because she prayed for it. She was ready to go. And I told you before, she also, every time she wanted to work a job, she tried to work a job because my grandfather was also financially abusive. Whatever money that they did have, he would spend it somewhere else or he would spend it on alcohol. And so a lot of times my mom and her siblings went hungry. And, my grandmother, she would try to get jobs. But every time she did, my grandfather would go up to her, crying and begging her to come back home, and he would cause her to lose her job because he's there acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So she could never keep a job because of him. And she was just doing it to try to get food on the table because he was so financially abusive. So my grandfather he's still alive on my mom's side till this day. He's having a lot of physical complications, but unfortunately, his children stuck by him and are taking care of him, the ones that he abused. And when my mom tried to address him about the abuse, he just said, "I don't remember any of that." Yeah. So,
he don't have dementia, do he?
No, he was just drunk and don't remember beating nobody's ass. Excuse my French. Now, I'm not sure if I can believe all of that, but yeah, my grandfathers were no good, and it's unfortunate how actually my grandmother on my dad's side, she seemed to be just fine with her situation. And once he died, she felt like there was nothing else to live for. Whereas my grandmother on my mom's side was ready to die. And somebody said in your comment section, which is what I replied to, is that some of these women wanted to die because they knew that was the only way that they would escape the abuse and the cheating and the lying and all of that. And that's what my grandmother did. She died way, way too young, because 50 is young.
Yeah.
But that's what she wanted. So I didn't really get to know her because she died when I was a baby. But my mother, she shared many stories. And it's at the point where, her siblings, like I said, I already told you about my aunt that has not dated since the 90s. She has 2 children, but she ended up, because she was with a man who was married, but she didn't know that for a while. But then, she was so deep in it, she tried to hold out for the man. But eventually she stopped, messing around with him. But ultimately, she just never dated since him because she was just in love with him. So that's another story for somebody else's grandfather. Whoever's grandfather that is, my auntie dated. He was a cheater too. So
I just think, why isn't she dating? It is 2022. Why does she don't feel she deserves love? She want to be lonely and miserable? I mean, she could be happy. Some women are happy single, but damn, didn't date since the 90s. What's wrong? Have you talked to her?
She ain't gonna listen to me. She a mean old woman now. But one of her sisters, my mother's youngest sister, she has never dated. So that's actually the worst out of all of them. She's never dated. Nobody's ever seen her with a man. And they all just sit around in my grandfather's house taking care of him. So that is my crazy family story, and it's so bad to the point where some of my siblings, they said when my grandfather dies, they're not going to his funeral because he was an evil man. And honestly, I'm probably not either. I saw a piece of how my grandfather was when I stayed at his home years ago with my cousin, where our family pet accidentally, it didn't accidentally scratch it, they intentionally did it, but he got so angry when the cat launched at me, he started beating the hell out of the cat. But I was a little girl, and I was just so confused by his reaction. So when my mother told me years later about the kind of man he was, I was like, well, hell, I thought the way he was with the cat alone. So, that's my crazy family story. I wanted to contribute to the live. I didn't want you to end it yet because I know there's more people who got stuff to say, but that's all from my story.
Well, I thank you so much, okay? And everybody listening, listen, y'all know I don't have a certain day I go live, but If I do go live, it'll be either at usually 12 p.m. or between 6 and 7 p.m. any day. I want to probably go live again tomorrow, probably at 6 or 7. If not tomorrow, the next day. But make sure you call when I go live, when I do these call-ins. All right?
All right. Well,
thank
you, Cerebral. You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye.
Y'all might notice that y'all know I can talk, but I want y'all to talk. I'm letting you tell your truth, your stories, and letting everybody get a chance to call. Okay, I have about 2 or 3 more calls to make. All right, someone called from a 267. 267, I'm calling you back right now. So basically, Grandpa was beating up Grandma and the kids and then said he don't even remember none of it because he was drunk.
Hello.
Hi, this is Cerebral.
Hi, Cerebral. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm okay. You are on the live show. How was Grandma really happy? Do you have any tea you want to share?
Well, I'll definitely say for my father's side of the family, I did not really know much about my father's side growing up. I was raised primarily by my mother's side. My father's family's from Alabama, and he would rarely go down there to visit family. He's the youngest of 9 children from his mother and father. And my father, growing up, I noticed that he had issues with addiction, and it was usually my mother that would be the main breadwinner. They were married for well over 20 plus years, and he would go in and out of drug and alcohol facilities dealing with his addiction. But I remember growing up, he sent us a letter from the drug and alcohol facility talking about his childhood growing up in Alabama and how his father was mentally, physically, emotionally abusive towards him and his siblings, and he saw how he used to beat his mother, my grandmother. And since he was the main breadwinner, there was a lot of financial abuse where my grandfather would withhold money from my grandmother and from the children, and there were instances that they would starve or, go without food. Go ahead.
Oh no, just the previous caller also said that there was financial abuse as well. So that sucks. I hate it. Continue.
And it took time, but learning from the letter that my grandmother found the strength and actually planned to leave her husband and move in with one of her sisters with her 9 plus children with him. And after that, as time went on, my father told us that his father had multiple children outside their marriage, many siblings that he has never met and he has not met to this day. And I also feel that my father still is dealing with a lot of issues in terms of not having the father that he wanted or felt like, trying to get validation from my grandfather, his father. So I do think like the actions that my grandfather had towards not only my grandmother but to my father and his siblings are very much long lasting.
Yeah, it does cause a lot of damage. And so was your grandma, from what you know, was she a happy woman? Is she still alive? Did she pass away?
She passed away in 2003. From the times when I did visit her, she was very loving and pleasant, and I wish I could talk to her more about but I was a young child myself. I didn't really know what was going on, and I didn't feel like it was my place to answer certain questions. But from my aunt, they told me that she was a wonderful woman and did the best she could once she left her husband by getting a job as a maid and supporting the family. But even back in those days, the maid didn't get paid as much as they should have. But they made a way.
Do you feel like there's any generational trauma or anything that's been passed down, or, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I do feel that addiction issues, especially from my father, because he's told me that his father was also a drunk, and my father struggled with forms of addiction too, and trauma as well. And I'll definitely say, like, my mother dealing with my father's issues, her being the main breadwinner and her taking care of the household, it definitely made me feel that I can't really trust a man to take care of me, or men in general, or also how she treats my brothers differently and how she treats me as her daughter.
I hear this so much, and I've seen it. Even I've seen it. It disgusts me. I think it's something mental as to where these women. I don't know if it's because they try to make their sons into the men they never had, and I don't know. But it's not normal. The boy is supposed to be molded to be a provider and a man and a leader for us to have, not us be taking care of them and being their leader. So are you gonna break these generational curses?
I'm damn sure trying. It's getting to the point where I've been asked by a lot of relatives, when will I get married and have children? I'm like, I'm not sure if that's even in my cards, but they've never asked my brothers that question, really. And both of my brothers are in their 30s, and they're still living with my mom.
Mm.
They work part-time and, minimum wage jobs, though, but I'm the only one of her children that is out, have their own career, living on their own, and
Dude, don't succumb to those pressures. If you don't get married or have kids, are you okay with that?
I love the life I'm living right now, actually. I love the opportunities I've received. I love the friendships and relationships I built for myself. I look back in the life I'm living, like I travel so much. I enjoy it. I've met wonderful people. I'm in a career that I love. And if I find somebody that I feel comfortable with, I feel like they have the similar values as myself and will love and support me, and absolutely. And
Okay.
I love children. I love my nieces and nephews and real cousins, and I think my life is so cool right now. I'm definitely open to anything else that the Creator has for me.
Well, you live your life for you and don't worry about any family members that's bothering you. I find that some of them just want you to get pregnant just so you can end up being a baby mama like them. They don't actually say, they don't care if you get a quality man. They don't even think about that or getting married. Just have kids, or, oh, well, we all got babies. Where's your babies? Leave me alone. Shoot. So,
but thank you for letting me call in and tell my family story. So if it can help anybody, that's wonderful. So, but thank you, Cerebral.
Thank you.
And you take care.
You too. Bye. Okay, I think I have 2 more phone calls to make. There was a 757. 757. I'm calling you back right now. Yes, Kauai Avril. Don't listen to any family members if their life is screwed up.
Hello?
Hi, this is Cerebral.
to be on your show. I watch your show all the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. So, you know what the topic is tonight. Is there anything you want to share with us?
Yes, actually. Thank you for asking. So, I'm originally from the West Indies, Caribbean Islands.
Talk up just a little. I'm not sure if I'm on speaker. I can't really hear you that well.
No.
Okay, just talk up some.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm originally from the Caribbean Islands. So, my grandmother, she had my mother when she was 15. So, you know, her little life pretty much ended right there and then. She had my mom at 15, and I guess after a while, my mom was about 4 months, and she ended up dropping my mom off to her grandmother's house, which is my grandfather's mother. So my mom's dad's mother. My grandmother dropped my mom off there. And she was like, hey, I'll be back. And she never came back. And this is 58 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So, to answer the question, to start, was my grandmother happy? Absolutely not. I don't see why she wouldn't. My grandfather was a lot older than she was. She was 15 when she had my mom. My grandfather was 23. She ended up having 9 children after my mom. She had 3 sets of twins, and she has never been married. She's always been a baby mom.
Mm-hmm.
So all this time goes by, she literally pretty much distanced herself from my mom. My mom seems to be the one that was constantly forcing a relationship with her because, she's there with her other sisters. She sees them all the time, when in passing, or sometimes she'll get to go to visit them on the weekends when she was a child, of course. All that good stuff. And every time she said she'll go to visit, she'll go down to see them around like 9 o'clock in the morning. By 3 o'clock, they were putting her on a bus to send her home. Like, they didn't want her to sleep over. Like, my grandmother had this thing, I don't know what it was, against her. When my mom turned 50, that was the first time ever my grandmother ever called her and wished her happy birthday.
Oh, my God.
As a 50-year-old woman, like, she broke down like a baby. Like, that, it was just so much for her because, like, all this time I've been trying to reach out. And my mom is, like, really big on family and everything. Sometimes I tell her, you're doing a little too much. Like, if they're not putting their effort to give you what you're trying to give them, you need to stop. But she just was so persistent on trying to create this relationship with her mom that wasn't going anywhere. And then for the first time, my grandmother called her to wish her happy birthday when she turned 50, and all she could do was bawl. Like, she said she couldn't even answer and say thank you. She just bawled and bawled and bawled. And then, my grandmother was like, I'm sorry, whatever. And then she just hung up. So even
wow.
if my grandmother saw my mom's kids out in public, my aunt without my mom, she wouldn't even recognize us because she's never put forward an effort to even get to know us. So pretty much my mom was raised by my great grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather was a great dad to her, just a terrible baby daddy, I guess, if you want to call him that, to my grandmother. But my mom was spoiled rotten. He took care of her. She was his only child, and he never had any of the kids, never got married, none of that.
I wonder what's going on.
Huh?
I wonder why, it's so horrible and strange to me when women don't have relationships with their daughters. That's like your girl. Like, obviously something happened in the past that she did not connect emotionally to your mother and mistreated her. I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, I think it was more so she had this hatred for my grandfather because my grandfather used to beat her, from what I heard, and probably just, maybe having my mom being a result of him triggered her a lot, and, she was 15, that she just felt like if she just gave her to them, my grandfather and his family, then she would be absolved from everything related to him. That's just my personal opinion about it. I don't know.
So I mean,
went along and had 9 other kids and always been a baby mama.
You know, your mom, it sounded like when you told me she broke down crying when her mom wished her happy birthday, it sounds like she always probably wanted the love of her mama.
Oh, she did. Absolutely. She did, and she still does. She goes out of her way. She wished my grandmother happy birthday. She goes out of her way. Like, she keeps up with her more than my grandmother keeps up with her. You know, my mom keeps up with her mother more than my grandmother keeps up with her. Like, she's always like, oh, you know, she's doing this. Oh, I saw a picture of her today that her sister posted. When you see my grandmother and she's around my other aunts and uncles, which is my mom's sibling, best mom in the world, best grandma ever. I mean, she spoils them to pieces, loves them to death. I mean, it's just overly, you know, just you can't guess about it. But then my mom, she doesn't know any of that because she's never experienced that with her. So she feels left out, even though she's the oldest child. She was here before that, you know. So she feels some type of way. And I mean, I can't tell her how to feel about that because I'm not in that particular situation. But it hurts me to see that she goes so far out and above to get her validation, and she's just constantly ignored or pushed to the side, or just like, you know, it's just her.
So how are you from this dysfunction? You know.
I mean, I'm unbothered about it because my personality is more of the it doesn't affect me personally. I have my own issues that I have to deal with my mom and other family members. So my focus is more me trying to heal from that. So I can't really say it affects me because it really doesn't. It only affects me when I see my mom being affected from it and I get annoyed with her, and I'm just like, I'm trying not to be annoyed, but I'm like, explain to her, look, I understand over all these years you've been trying to create this relationship with her, but she's not interested. So you can't keep pushing this relationship. You're almost 60 years old. I mean, that woman is, you know, almost 80. You know, she had her young. She's not interested. I mean, she travels everywhere to see her kids. She does everything above and beyond. I mean, when I tell you grandmother of the year, mother of the year for all 9, well, that's just 8 because she had one that died. So all of the other 8 and then their children, then when it comes to us, we're just like neighbors, but somebody she knew that was just down the street, and if she doesn't recognize them here, she might wave and say hi. Like, they'll pass each other, like, you know, we're from the island, so the island's small, and if they're in, like, the main town, you know, out shopping, and she saw my mom, she might, like, do a little wave, like, hey, and she called her by her last name, like, Miss so-and-so. She don't even call my mom by her real name, but she names her. Like, it's the weirdest thing ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, listen, I thank you for your call. I hope that everything works out as far as the generational healing, curses, and the trauma, everything. The only thing we can do is try to make our family with our children better and don't repeat those same type of mistakes as far as how we treat our kids and stuff and stuff like that. So I thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you, Venus. Yes, y'all, make sure you get those likes up. Okay, get those likes up. Hold on for a second. Yes, I'm interrupting this video with my little commercial. I have a little announcement. That's that I am doing some life coaching. Many of you love the advice that I give, and I cannot wait to speak to some of you about any problems you're going through, men or women, any secrets that you have that you just can't tell anybody about. You can speak to me for 30 minutes for $30. And the way that you can do this is Cash at me. My Cash App is in the description box, and you can leave me your phone number with your name if you have room in the subject line. I will call you between the hours of 6 p.m. through 8 p.m. the same day, or the same week. I promise to speak to you and we can talk about anything again. Again, secrets, anything that's bothering you. I give pretty good advice. And one thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm going to keep it very real with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. We're going to have a real conversation. 30 minutes, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. I look forward to the people that would love to speak to me for 30 minutes one on one. So let's get back to the video. Bye. Okay. So there is one more phone call. You know what? I'm not even sure. For some reason, I think I spoke to this person. We shall see. It is, perhaps you're still listening, a 813. 813 number. I think this will be the last call of the night. Give me a second. Okay. I might have spoken to this person.
Hello?
Hi, did we speak already? This is Cerebral.
Yeah, this is the one that asked about Aaliyah.
Oh, okay. Well, look, we have someone in the chat. Her name is Venus. She says she looked just like Aaliyah. So you know
Her name is
she
Venus?
is gorgeous. Yes, Venus says she looked like Aaliyah. So listen, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you.
Wait a minute, Venus? Hold on, wait a minute. Hello?
Yes, I mean she's in the chat. She says she looked just like Aaliyah. I want to see you, Venus. I want to
Yeah,
see.
we gotta see you. We gotta see you.
When I do StreamYard, come up on and let's see your face. So, all right. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm ending this live.
Well, how we gonna see it if he go?
Well, we can't do it today. It'll have to be when I go live on StreamYard one of these days this month or next month. But I mean, unless Venus, you wanna Venus, what you could do, I mean, you could take a picture, upload it on a free hosting image website, and then put the link in the comment section, and then we can all see you. Or you can send me an email. Let's see. A celebrity lookalike. All right, so thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Good night.
Night. Okay, y'all, so this live has been pretty lit. I have to say, I was surprised with the amount of phone calls. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And I thank you all for sharing your story and different perspectives. I would like to maybe go live tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. The next topic, I have like 4 different topics I might want to talk about. One of them might be I'm plus size and I've never taken care of a man. Forget that stereotype. Another one might be um, do you believe or would you take care of your parents when they get old if they abused you? Okay. Are you willing to adopt children? Are you open to adoption? The black women or the women, period, who don't want to have kids. I want to do a call and show about that and tell us why you don't want kids. Um, and women, I asked you in the community section, what is your career and your field of study? And a lot of you that follow me, y'all have some awesome, amazing careers. And I'm so amazed with what y'all have shared with me. I want to do a call and show about that. Tell us about your career. Everything about it. Just, it's amazing. I even have a scientist who follows me. Incredible. Y'all are incredible. So listen, y'all have a good night. I'm going to play my music. I want you to get those likes up right now, and then we're going to go ahead and go. Y'all have a good night.